thirst trap.
Hey, what's up, Trails Collective? This is Ian and Ellie coming in for the Trails Collective weekly rundown for July 8th, 2020. So our intent here is to cue you in a little bit of what's been shaken the past week or so in our region, what's been going in the media, the event world, maybe new products, interviews we had this past week, and then to give you a heads up of what's on deck for the upcoming week or so. So we just opened with a clip from Matt Lipsey and Zach Miller. Good times on the trail, good energy. So always want to open, if we can, with some scenes and some voices from the collective. So if you're out there running some adventures, have some clips, want to put something together, throw some good energy behind it, send it our way. So let's get into it. I'm still on vacation here on an island in the middle of the St. Lawrence River. I'm getting eaten by horseflies as we speak, but it's been a really good time. I haven't had a lot of chance to dig into some of the social media world. I did find a pretty sweet, I think, clip, or I don't know if it's really invention, but just the use of a product that is pretty slick that I will plug here.
Do you have any water?
So that was the nugget that I took from the social media, some of the threads and trail community threads in our region this week. So without a lot of events running, there may have been a couple. I didn't get a chance to dig in to see whether the one or two out there had results from this past week. But on the FKT boards, let's take you through a little bit of that, see what's going on, see who's doing what out there. Where I'm drawing this, as I mentioned before, is from fastestknowntimes.com. They do a really great job. They're probably getting barraged in the day of COVID, where everybody's out there and doing their own thing, and some people plugging in. They had one episode for their podcast that we'll plug here, episode 92. They interviewed Joe Stringbean McConnaughy with an episode titled How to Crush the Long Trail FKT and What Not to Do. So I don't know whether many of you had a chance to check out Joe's report or maybe some of the interviews since his long trail effort, but some pretty cool sub-stories and moments out there for him. Just in case you don't get a chance to listen to the full episode or didn't get a chance to read it so far, highlight some of the highlights, which they also plugged on the Fastest Known Time. Some of the quotes from Joe. I only brought one water filter. When I lost the O-ring seal, I couldn't get water. So I folded a leaf in half, poked a hole in it, and used a leaf to seal the bottle. Another one, my headlamp battery went dead, so I used an iPhone hoping to get through the last night, but then it went dead in the middle of a moonless night while crossing a lake on a boardwalk. So I used the light from the display screen of my GoPro. Third one, a sore throat made eating painful, so I cold soaked my food by pouring water into the baggie and letting it sit. I did that with Fritos nuts and made Oreo slushies. So good stuff. Check out the episode 92. It's at Fastest Known Times website. Plug it. I'm excited to give it a listen. And then also with that long trail, word has it that another acquaintance may be having at that FKT attempt here pretty soon. One of the fittest individuals that I've ever been acquainted to. And so if he is able to make it out there and set off, he's got a pretty, I think, good shot of lowering that quite a bit further. So we'll tune you into that if that actually lines up and if we can get some reports from it. So what else was happening out there? In Connecticut, Less-Stuart and Shona Evans ran a 12:43 for the 58-kilometer Tunxis trails. In Delaware, Michael Wardian ran 26 hours, 19 minutes for a 129-mile Delaware crossing. I probed him a little bit for a gun incident on trail, somebody who was a little bit scared. I think maybe thought he was maybe a looter running or cruising by. Crazy times. He said it was a pretty long story, so we didn't get into it. But anyway, pretty crazy effort as his typically are. In New York, Jordan Plank ran a 3:06 for the beautiful 14-mile Five Sisters loop around Bear Mountain. Katharine Spector set an opening supported women's mark of 8:25 for the Devil's Path. Awesome to have a women's mark on the board. So all you ladies in the house who are pretty fit and like technical terrain should get out there and see what you can do to lower that. And Kelly MacDonald ran a 3:44 for the Blackhead Range. And I'm really excited to see her out at Cayuga Trails here in 2 weeks as she keeps laying down some pretty fast efforts. In PA, Luke Bollschweiler ran a 3:18 for the Wissahickon Four Corners Trail. In Virginia, Stephanie Hill ran a 2:25 for the Mount Vernon Trail. And in Vermont, Andrew Hostetler shaved off over 40 minutes from the prior mark of 3:41 for the Mad River Notch Loop. Also, I imagine a pretty beautiful loop. And then last one, Dan Grip ran a 3:29 for the Glastenbury West Ridge Loop. So turning to some of the digesting the media for you to see what you should maybe go back and listen to the full thing on your own would be Ellie. So Ellie, take away this week's media.
Hey Trails Collective, Ellie here, and it's Monday evening, so excuse my foggy brain if this makes no sense or I garble my words. Thank you. Think of it as you're at mile 30 in a trail race, because we all know what that feels like. For the media this week, there wasn't tons of media-related stuff as I record today, but I found some other related content on other podcasts with East Coast runners. Jay Friedman, who hosts our famous Pain Cave podcast, was featured on the Sportish podcast with Dr. Keith Strudler and Geoff Brault to talk about endurance sports in the age of the coronavirus. Jay spoke eloquently about the changes trail running will have to make to adopt and why big city marathons and races will not resume anytime soon. It was a really fun interview, and then Jay also talks about his pizza challenge, which you're going to definitely have to check out next year. The guys also discussed the continued conversation around the national anthem at sporting events, which, when is that going to end? I don't know. I think most of us progressively are all on the same page. Yassine DeBoon was featured on the Morning Shakeup podcast with Mario Fraioli. I personally have had a back and forth with Mario in my athletic development, and the guy just has a solid head on his shoulders, and he coaches many athletes across the spectrum of distances and terrains. You might have heard of E.U. Wang or Justin Grunwald, just to name a few. On this podcast, Yassine and Mario begin by talking about addiction and how running in Ithaca in our wonderful community was a major step in his recovery. They speak about diversity in trail and ultra running and how Yassine doesn't feel like our community is exclusive, yet it is majority white. He feels that it is a responsibility for him and others to bring more people of color into the sport. Put this podcast on your queue and then listen to all the back episodes, because Mario's podcast is #1 on my list every week and it's really awesome. The gang at Cultra put out a short gang show this past week. First, they talk about Jimmy DNFing an FKT attempt due to a lack of water. They recap their latest social distance challenge and introduce the new challenge. They have the longest Patreon reading ever, which they do, but they really love all their supporters, so why not listen into that? Then they get all cinematic and dive into their favorite trail films. They go over some of the completed FKT attempts in Connecticut in the last 7 days, and then they talk up another dumbass event. This episode was just shy of 2 hours, which is actually pretty short for them, but I make sure to listen each week. It's great. Last week at the Trails Collective, we put out an interview with Devang Patel, covering both his start as a baller turned runner and then diving into his most recent run at the legendary Manitou's Ultra last Saturday. He and a bunch of our Red Newt Racing crew met up at the Catskills to hit tons of miles in some tough terrain. Devang is such a kind person and is always looking to both test himself but also share time and miles with others. We talk about imposter syndrome, injuries, how he attempts to stay injury-free for now, and why we love our Red Newt Mountain Peak team, and much more. The interview that I'm going to put out on Friday is with Elizabeth Fawnin. She came to the trails just 2 years ago, and her stoke level is off the charts. Last month, she completed the Cayuga Trails 50-miler after DNFing last year, but vowing to return. We discussed why she switched from roads to trails, the problems comparing yourself to others, where she loves to train now and how she does it, what motivated her to stay the course and complete the race even when it was postponed, her life as a single mom, and much more. Elizabeth is someone I will look forward to seeing at the trails and a bunch of events in the future, because she is just a beam of energy that lights up the room. Stay tuned for Friday's show. And that's it for me this week, guys. Back to you, Ian.
Thanks, Ellie. So next I want to plug a longtime running friend, Jim Milosky, started a pretty cool new entity called the Runners Movement. I just reached out to see whether he'd maybe give us some insight or plug what that is. So Jim, Hit it.
Hi Trails Collective, Jim Molesky here, and I'd like to welcome you to the Runners Movement. I've finally taken my passion for running over the years and my years of experience in the sports medicine field to develop a place where you can go and educate and learn more about training, nutrition, injuries, gear, footwear. We're going to be covering a wide range of topics, and I'll be doing this through blog posts and videos. I'll also be bringing in experts in their field to discuss running and running related topics. Down the road, I'll be offering movement and gait analysis, training packages, injury packages for preventative and corrective exercises, and I'll also be offering my massage therapy services. So thank you Trails Collective for giving me this time. And again, you can check out therunnersmovement.com, or you can see me on Facebook, The Runners Movement. So thanks again, and I hope to see you on the trails.
So all of you out there, for sure, check it out. Like the Facebook page. He's a pretty stellar runner and athlete on his own. Good guy. So check it out. So going into what we have coming this week, as well as I'm going to give you the heads up for maybe the next couple weeks out on events that are running, what's canceled, just in case any of you are looking for an actual in-person, non-virtual event. There are some coming back online, particularly 2 weeks out from now. I know that's a pretty mixed bag. I've spent this past week or so really working on the trail modifications, permits, and planning for the Cayuga Trails 50s as well as Lucifer's Crossing. They'll run July 18th here in Ithaca. Pretty beautiful course. We definitely have spots left. We've been rolling some entries over to 2021. We've refunded some along the way of people who just aren't comfortable. We've got some that were signed up for states that would be quarantined out of New York. So we've either rolled them or refunded them as well. But if you have some decent fitness at the moment, want to join us for an in-person race, registration is open until July 12th. So check it out. That's the Cayuga Trails 50K and 50 mile, and Lucifer's Crossing roughly 10K here in Ithaca. Some of the updates haven't yet posted to rednewtracing.com, but on Red Newt Racing's Facebook page, we did plug some of those updates. So check it out and join us if you can make it. Let's see, so for this coming weekend, July 11th and 12th, events that were canceled. The Tark Blue Hill Skyline Trail, Loon Mountain, Sugar Rush 40K, Sweet Air Trail Race, Chabot Challenge, or Cabot, however you pronounce that, and the Ethan Allen 24 in Bennington, all canceled. Pushed back, the Spartan Trail Palmerton is pushed to October 4th. Bear Brook in Allenstown, New Hampshire, postponed, but with no fallback date yet announced. In terms of those that shifted to virtual formats, you have the Fat Sass Switchback Challenge in Millburn, New Jersey. Really fun and entertaining crew that puts on events and speakers and various things in their lineup. Runners can head out to the course between July 1st and the 15th. So you've got a week left here to complete a 5K, 3 hour, or 6 hour with your GPS track to be submitted post. Check it out at ultrasignup.com to get registered, and a portion of the proceeds going to support the Livingston Neighbors Helping Neighbors Financial and Food Support Nonprofit Association. And then up in Maine, the Bradbury Scuffle in Pownell. It's a virtual for 2020 format. You can complete the course in the month of July. Registration is $10. So definitely an entity that is definitely about the community and just getting out there and doing it up there. So for $10, can't go wrong. Check it out at runreg.com, and we'll plug it in the show notes. And then actual running, one of the earlier ones or first ones back on the board here is the Catoctin 50K and Half Cat in Frederick, Maryland. The first event approved in Maryland since COVID. Reg closed on July 3rd, so you can't get in if you're not already in. They're going in with 149 in the 50K, 70 in the 25K, and some of their modifications, there's no set start or finishing time, just a total time window, and no set start or finish line, and runners can hop on the course at any point on the course. So definitely some good modifications to get them on the board. And then another one, lower key one, the Chernisky Classic. You can look it up. I'm not sure whether that's still on or not. The event says it is, but I can't find any information on it. Looking forward to July 18th and 19th. In the canceled realm, Vermont 100, Ragnar Trail, Vermont. The Battle at Bristol Mountain put on by Yellow Jacket Racing. They're in a holding pattern pending COVID modifications. but you can look for some of their information in case they do get up and running by July 18th. In virtual format, the Run First, Wine Later in Leesburg, Virginia, another Bishop's event run, one of the entities that's continued to hold races the past couple weeks. This one's held at the Tarara Winery, and it's virtual fashion, as we mentioned, for 2020. You can find more information at bishopseventregistrations.com. And then the Candlelight 12 Hour in Honeoye Falls, New York, has also gone virtual for 2020. Check out their information if you want to participate in a 12-hour. One that looks like it should be running is the Smallfoot Trail Fest 5K in Troy, PA. I'm just going to read you a bit about what the event's all about, because it really is a wonderful event to get not just community but youth involved, as well as just families, and also supports and aligns with an organization that's trying to turn some sports equipment back over to those who could use them in the community as well. The Smallfoot Trail Fest was created to inspire kids 12 and under to get outdoors, try the sport of trail running, and boost their confidence in an outdoor exploration. Pisgah Runners, Revive Gear, and the PA Trail Dogs have all teamed up to offer this event free of charge for participants. They're working on providing some other kids' activities along with the trail run, so stay tuned. There's currently 60 entrants. You can find out more information or join at ultrasignup.com. Check it out. Great event for youth and community. Another one actually running, the Goshen Gallop in Goshen, Vermont. They're offering 5K and 10.2K options. Speaking to one that goes back in our region, this would now be, or now is, in their 41st year. That's pretty wild. And to take a quote from their website to give you the gist of what they're about, sometime in the early 80s, it was decided to make the Goshen Gallop a trail race, using the Blueberry Hill cross-country ski trails and a few of Goshen's rugged gravel roads. The course remains the same to this day and has challenged and rewarded generations of runners from New England and beyond. Due to its elevation profile and defensive running on tough terrain, it was coined as the toughest 10.2K in New England. Well, maybe 41 years ago or 30 or 20 years ago. I haven't run it, but that's a pretty bold claim, toughest 10.2K in New England. So if anybody needs an excuse to get up to Vermont on what would probably be a beautiful summer weekend to be involved in a really long-standing event and give me the feedback on whether it truly stands up at the toughest 10.2K, but I guess I'm now catching the 10.2K. They might have us there in a technicality. Check it out. Ultra Sign Up is where the registration's at. It's open until July 16th, and you can find more information on GoshenGallop.com. And some of their modifications, you can choose from 4 different start times and with waves of 25 runners or less. Another event actually running with some modifications. They had some changes recently and I think had to bump to a new staging location, but are feeling pretty good about the burliness of the new course. Hopefully, so this one is Prowl the Sproul 10K, or the Sproul 10K. I'd reached out to Craig to see whether he could give us an update on the event and plug the new course. If that video comes in time, we'll weave it in here. If it didn't come in, just stay tuned. He says there's even more elevation gain than the Heiner-based prior course. Registration link can be found at ultrasignup.com, and you can just probably Google the Sproul 10K for those in the PA area. I had mentioned Red Newt Racing's Cayuga Trails 50s and Lucifer's Crossings. Registration open until the 12th. Another one, the Night Owl 9K in Williamsburg, Virginia. It's rolling hills with a bit of single track. There's 132 currently registered, and registration open through July 18th. Choose from 1 of 4 start times, and you find registration at ultrasignup.com. And again, that's the Night Owl 9K. And then one last one here for that July 18th weekend in actual running format. The Cacopan, if I pronounced that right, 12-hour trail challenge in Berkeley Springs, West Virginia. Moderately technical 5-mile single track loop. And it, yeah, check it out. Some COVID modifications set, includes no aid stations, but an event down in Berkeley Springs, West Virginia, if you want to hop in on a 12-hour. Looking at a couple weekends to give you the heads up, some prep. The weekend of July 25th and 26th. Canceled will be Wakely Dam, Run with the Deer Flies. The Escarpment Trail Run is the one I was hoping to run and film this year, as well as the Mount Mansfield Double Up. Another one that I was really excited about, which just looks like an absolutely beautiful course. Limited numbers on that one. I wasn't going to be able to do it because my intent was with Escarpment, but Mount Mansfield was canceled as well. Event still running. The Miners Lady 8-hour in Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. To pull a quote from their site, it's quite possibly the inspiration for John Denver's song. Our course runs through the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains down to the Shenandoah River, and it truly is almost heaven. So that's quite possibly all that I need to know about the course, and that to know that you should probably consider getting yourselves down there July 25th, 26th for that 8-hour run. So anything that makes me think of John Denver and that song, or even a current rendition from a family and a band that I've been cued into the past couple weeks and really enjoyed, I'm going to plug here. Let's take it, Petersons.
Country roads take you home to the place I belong, West Virginia. Now, mama, take me home, country roads.
So truly almost heaven. So check it out. It's the Miners Lady 8-hour. You can find it at ultrasignup.com for registration. Another one, the Jug End Loop Ultra in Egremont, Massachusetts. 4.2 miles, 27 miles, and a 6-hour. They've gone semi-virtual with runners needing to run on the actual course, but on their own sometime in July. And then another one, one put on by the Schnipsit Striders, which we profiled a couple times here. The Soapstone Assault in Somers, Connecticut. It's gone virtual, classic 5-mile course with 1,500 feet of gain. Ends at, I think, the namesake Soapstone. And there's also a 6-hour version, and you can run it between July 25th and August 2nd. So that's to give you the heads up on events that are coming. So that's what we got for you this week. I'm going to take you out with a clip from a friend, Josh Burns, which many of you, or some of you at least, may know. He put on a pretty stellar effort on the presidential traverse up in New Hampshire a couple weeks ago, which we mentioned for an FKT. He at one time held the coveted and much challenged and brought down an amazing single direction. This one was for the double. And so he's going to give us a little bit about how that adventure went for him. I'll plug a couple photos. And again, here also, if you've put in an adventure, want to plug a video, an event coming up, let us know, and we can see if we can plug it here. Always good to take you out with some other scenes and voices from the Trails Collective proper. So thanks all for tuning in this week. I'll check you next week, though it's going to be a blur in prepping for Cayuga Trails, but I'll still try to get something on the board. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks to all the Patreon supporters that are supporting us out there so far, and talk to you soon. See ya.
Hey everyone, this is Josh Burns checking in from the Green Mountains of Vermont, semi-freshly off my double crossing of the Presidential Traverse in the White Mountain National Forest. So this project landed on my radar for the fact that the Presidential Range is such an iconic locale for northeastern trail running. There's been some really speedy times put down on the Traverse. And the range also just provides an incredible opportunity to be above tree line and in an eastern alpine environment. And so in preparations for this, I definitely spent numerous outings running trails and backcountry skiing trails to learn the area. And I also made sure to fail pretty miserably at an attempt a couple years ago, pulling the plug before even the first traverse. So Nate Weeks had set the standard of 12 hours and 4 minutes for the double traverse. And so this year, with our current state of affairs, the huts are closed, which means limited water resources, and if there was an issue and there needed to be a rescue, that'd definitely be an extended period of time for that. So I definitely wanted to go out conservatively while being as efficient as possible. And I also looked for a good weather window, which seemed to land perfectly this past Friday with cool temperatures in the mornings and 80 degrees during the day while clouds rolling in the afternoon to help keep it cool. My day started off in Crawford Notch and I moved pretty well through the first traverse, hitting the Appalachia trailhead, the halfway point at 5 hours and 4 minutes. This was 40 minutes ahead of schedule that I had planned for. And then as you would expect, the pain of my day and the heat of the day lined up perfectly. And the climb up Valleyway Trail back to Madison was quite the slog. I went through most of my 1.5 liters of water on this climb and tried to just put down as many calories as I could. Once I hit the Madison summit, nice cool breeze kind of came in. Some clouds even rolled over Washington with some showers, which kind of helped overall for the day. I carried a couple soft flasks of soda and a handful of energy chews, which got me through the Taos Fields of Adams and Jefferson. And at that point in the day, we're looking at the Mount Washington area. Midday, the auto road folks are hiking around then, so you have to excuse your way through a number of people. But once past Washington, the Southern Presidentials get relatively runnable, so I was able to get the legs moving and turning over for the rest of the day, and ended up back at the Crawford Notch trailhead in 11 hours and 28 minutes. And I just was really stoked on the entire experience and was able to kick my feet up for a few minutes in the Highland Center parking lot. Thanks everybody out there for listening, and thanks Trails Collective. Be safe and have fun out there on the trails.